DoorDash is coming out with a lot of gimmicks this summer. Check out the one that they're attempting to introduce in my market on this segment of the Gig Geezer. It is Wednesday, June 29, 2022. But if this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer, hey, thanks for coming by. And if you would not mind, hit that subscribe button. Give my content a thumbs up. Share my content among others. And I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. And if you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, hey, thanks for coming back. Yesterday evening, June 28, I got an email from DoorDash, and in bold headline, it was "Earn by Time." DoorDash, and I'm paraphrasing at least to this point, which they wanted to try a beta program in which you can earn $12.50 an hour while driving and keep all your tips. Now, that sounds like to me where DoorDash is giving you the option of opting in to become a paid employee. Basically, one of the big fusses about DoorDash and some of these gig apps is that they're trying to nudge you into, it could force you into accepting all the orders that come your way. If not, then you may encounter certain penalties for doing that, or you may miss out on certain incentives. And I'm gonna get a little further into that. Now, my first thought when I saw this is DoorDash and many of the gig apps have been getting pushback and resistance from people who say that they're not making any money. They're in abject poverty, working well below minimum wage, and depending on how you spin and crunch your numbers, it could very well be that a person is making less than minimum wage. Well, last I checked, the federal minimum wage is like $7.25 an hour. Although in some states and municipalities, the minimum wage is $15 an hour. Either way, I know that I could not live on $15 an hour. I just couldn't. And quite honestly, as far back as between 2010 and 2012, I actually worked at a job at a call center here at the health insurance company, making $11 and change an hour. And that place was worse than working in a third world sweatshop. I was ball and chained to a phone. And if I spent 20 seconds to catch my breath after being bombarded with phone calls, there was the potential that a supervisor would be chiming in and saying, "Hey, why aren't you on the phones? Get back on the phones." And I'm not exaggerating. That had happened. Yes, they monitored you that closely. In fact, they said that if you went on a bathroom break beyond 7 minutes, you could face disciplinary action, and this was spelled out in the employee handbook, if you will, for lack of better words. So I made $11 an hour, translated about 2 G's a month, and I took that job because of the last recession, the 2008 to 2010 recession. I lost over 70% of my business as an insurance agent, whereby some of my biggest clients had closed their doors. And I went, with pressure by other external financial forces, I had to find a W-2 at the time. Okay, and that job, I hated that job. I mean, I despised that job. I cursed that job when I woke up. I cursed that job when I arrived there. I cursed that job while I was there. I cursed that job after work. And I would go as far as to say that job altered my personality. For the stuff that I put up with for that paltry sum of money, it was not worth it. Now, fortunately, over time, I have been in a position where I've made more money. And of course, with me talking about the Gig Geezer channel, doing gig economy work, I made like what, $22,000 a year doing that job. Well, hell, I've already made $36,000, and we're not out of June, and I've already made $36,000 this year alone. That should tell you something. It would have taken me 3.5 years to make the same money that I'm making right now, or even made in 2021 or in 2020. So that should give you some context as to what DoorDash is doing. Earn by time and keep the tips. $12.50 an hour, but you keep all the tips. Now we know that over 90% of the orders, I would venture to say 95% of the orders that come across our screen are lowball, bogus tip orders. And what I mean by bogus tip, 50 cents, $1, $2. This is nothing more than a way into forcing you to accept all the orders. Now, those of us who've been on DoorDash app since 2019 and before know about how DoorDash used to do its peak pay incentive. Peak pay, if you wanted to qualify for that $1 or $1.50 or $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever it was in your market, what you had to do within that time frame, let's say it was from 6 in the evening until 9 in the evening, you had to accept and complete 80% of your you had to accept and complete 80% of the orders that came your way. So you had to maintain an 80% acceptance rate to even qualify for that funky little $1, $2, $3, $1.50, whatever that number was. And I think that's where I had the experience of where I was trying to get that extra $1.50, $2 per order, whereby DoorDash sent me into another zone. So that meant I accepted an order, and in fact, I remember it vividly. It was a Chick-fil-A order. I accepted it in Lexington, but I had to go all the way over into the east part of Richland County, driving, I want to say, just about 20 miles just to the restaurant, and then another 3 miles to the drop-off location, and I got paid $3.50. I would not have done that if I knew that I was going to, I would not have accepted that during rideshare. With the personal history and I guess you say the little rant about that. DoorDash says that, okay, depending on whatever the amount is, it's going to be based on your market. In my market, they're saying $12.50 an hour. In another market, it'd be $14 an hour. Now, I also have, I saw recently on another driver's channel, he said that they're offering this beta program in which you are guaranteed $2 a mile on your order and keep all the tips. So all of these are all little gimmicks that DoorDash is doing to incentivize you or dupe you, which is probably the more correct word, dupe you into accepting all these orders. It's a repackaged Top Dasher program, a repackaged Top Thirsty program. Now, the catch is, in this repackaged Thirsty program, and that's what I'm calling it, you can only decline one order per hour, or you'll be relegated back to the earn as usual pay, which is what we are on right now. For further clarification, according to DoorDash, with that one decline per hour, if you decline more than one order, they will end your dash. They will end your shift, and then you'll have to get back into the app, and then you will be relegated to supposedly earning as usual, earn per delivery. Now, we don't know, does that mean will they be withholding the better paying orders in the process as well? Are they going to be doing something like that? Meaning that, okay, you've got to accept, I remember in an early Gig Geezer segment, I showed where I turned down 50 consecutive orders across all the apps that I was working before I had accepted one order that was worth my while. And we know with DoorDash, if it gets busy, you can get a rapid fire 50 orders in about 20 minutes. And then over a course of an hour, that translates into what, 150 orders. So they're telling me now, conceivably, you're going to complete probably 2-3 orders per hour. Okay, so that means they're counting on you accepting probably 3 orders per hour, maybe 4 orders, because you may be forced into accepting these $2.50 orders, these double stacked orders for $3 or $4 or whatever that amount is. The point is that my question is, are they also going to withhold the better paying orders? Are they going to be withholding the higher paying orders? Are they going to be withholding the catering bag orders? Or is this just the normal on demand stuff? We don't know. But whatever it is, obviously DoorDash is into its usual trickerations and manipulation and mind games, creating a subterfuge, a word that I've used before. So they're into creating this subterfuge, which means basically a bad joke of a situation, in which there are those who probably will accept this type of earn by time setup, thinking that, hey, I'm guaranteed at least $12.50 an hour. But let's look at $12.50 an hour. $12.50 an hour translates into $25,000 a year. $12.50 an hour was on the bottom tier. If memory serves me correct, if the average delivery driver makes $18 an hour, if memory serves me correct, the bottom tier, bottom 25 percentile were those who made $12.50 an hour, which then really, if that's assuming if you don't get any tips now, that tells me that you are likely to, the numbers this doesn't sound right. Now, let's think this thing through another way, okay? DoorDash has said that drivers make anywhere between $24 to $25 an hour, but that's based on the active time. That's based on the time in which you accept an order and then complete an order. It does not include the dash time, which is what most people who count dollars per hour use. Okay, and I've gone over that before in another Gig Geezer segment. In fact, that's the thumbnail to that segment right there. Okay, so there are a lot of drivers aren't making $24, $25 an hour. A lot of them aren't, and then a lot of them are, and I'll just leave it at that. But if you think about it, the average person is going to complete anywhere between 2 to 3 orders per hour. If you start completing 4 orders or more per hour, a lot of the dominoes have to fall the right way. It has to be the right distance. The orders have to be ready upon arrival. The person whom you're dropping off to, if they're asking for you to hand it to them, they've got to be meeting you at the door or what have you. There are a lot of factors that traffic has to go your way. So there are other external factors that go into why I say 2 to 3 orders per hour is what you're likely to complete. So it is conceivable that someone who accepts all the orders as it is likely that they could make. In fact, it would not surprise me that DoorDash has calculated that in this market, my market, the average person who accepts all the orders is probably making $12.50 an hour. Okay, they know that, but they're saying as an incentive, you still get 100% of all the tips. We also know that DoorDash does not. I've already established the fact that DoorDash manipulate the numbers for to make it sound impressive to its investors and maybe to media. But if you really look into the numbers, they aren't what they say. What they say the numbers are. Folks, do your own research, do your own math, make the best decision that you know possible. Now, I just want to provide an actual example with this earn by time, keep the tips sales pitch by DoorDash. What I've provided here in the inset are 3 consecutive orders that came across my screen during my first half hustle today. The orders were $2.50 from American Deli. The next one was $4 from, if memory serves me correct, it's either Chili's or Chick-fil-A. And then the next one is $2.50 from, the one for $4 is from Chick-fil-A. The one for $2.50 is from Chili's. Now all these orders were in the same somewhat of a geographic area. If I use the example with DoorDash, saying that you earn $12.50 an hour because these 3 orders could all conceivably be completed within an hour, I would get $12.50 minimum. Then we would figure out which order is likely to have tipped. The one that's likely to have tipped is the Chick-fil-A order that offered $4. And more than likely, the most that you would see on a $4 order in terms of tips is probably $1.50, since the minimum in the Columbia market is $2.50. And the minimum for a double stacked order in the Columbia market is $4. Now, I earned just a tick over $105 in 4.25 hours. That came out to just south of $25 an hour. Not the greatest first half hustle, but it's put me in a position to earn $200 or more when I factor in my first and second half hustles. Okay, so now, if I use the $12.50 example, the likelihood of a $1.50 tip, if I were to multiply 14 times 4, that's $56, and then 0.25 is $3.50. So that means that I would have earned just I would have projected out to $59.50 over the same amount of time, just using that example. Now, I did complete 2 DoorDash orders during my first half hustle. One paid $12.50 and there was a $7.50 tip. The other was it offered $7.50, but it paid $8.25. And so the tip on the second order was like $5. Okay. Now, these 2 orders were not within the same hour. So even if I were to try to dress this up even more, okay, so that means, let's say the first hour, $14, second hour, $20 because of the $7.50 tip, the third hour, $17.50. So we're at $34, we're at $51.50, and let's just say that it was a $10 in tips that I was able to keep with the other one, okay? So we're at $51 and change, $51.50, and then $22.50. That's only $74, even if I were to dress it up like that. So moving on, the one thing that I did not mention, let's just say that there were no other orders, but that's 4 hours. And so let's just say, to make it even now, 4.25 hours, and let's say nothing else came across in those 15 minutes. So now, 1/4 of $12.50 is $3 $3.125. So let's just say $3.15. So we're at $77. I'll even give you $78. $78 compared to $105 doesn't sound all that good. But you also got to remember too, let's just say that there was another offer that just happened to come by and you turn it down. Okay? You cannot turn down no more than one offer within that hour. If you turn down more than one offer, you're going to be booted out of your shift and you're going to have to try to get back in if there are any slots available. So that in a way is a double penalty, because you're not making any money, and then there's a chance that you may not be able to get on until if you've not scheduled any shifts, if you try to get back on, you're out of luck. And that's an actual realistic example with this Gig Geezers. These are some of the things that I quickly thought through before I came out with this Gig Geezer segment. And so if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button. Give my content a thumbs up. Share my content among others. And I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane. And as always, may your hustle and may your grind continue.